Hello there and welcome once again to The Verdict. Mick Cornett along with Kent Myers, we're here every week meeting interesting people and dealing with topical issues. And today, kind of a new subject matter for us on The Verdict.
Well, it is. From time to time, we try to bring local businesses to the show. In addition to the other types of shows we have, we think our viewers like to know what kind of businesses there are in this city and in Tulsa as well. And this week we're going to talk about an art gallery. We've certainly not done that before, and I don't know that you and I would understand much about it, but we've got somebody on today that will.
We certainly do. Laura Tirrell is here, and she runs the Howell Gallery in North Oklahoma City. We're going to learn all about running an art gallery and the secrets behind her success.
Plus
today
the Northwestern Street Association.
Absolutely.
Northwestern Avenue Association.
It's a hot area of Oklahoma City. We'll be right back on The Verdict.
I've known I was going to be an artist since I was a little kid. I still have teachers that in grade school that still have my artwork. I think I told them something along the lines, this is keep that, it's going to be worth money someday. I'm Justin Mader, I'm an artist, and I'm Chickasaw. My muse is the Muskogean, Mississippian art. When I see that, my mind just fills up with bubbles of ideas. My big thing right now is shell carving, the shell gorgets. My work is refined more and more until I found my own rhythm. I also do metallurgy, where I've been acid etching copper and hammering copper to make a copper repoussé. You only have one chance to do it right, so it requires a lot of planning and thought and just patience. My Chickasaw heritage is the foundation of who I am. It's the roots of where I come from, and it inspires me as an artist and inspires the tenacity of never giving up.
Learn more about today's Chickasaws at profilesofanation.com.
Welcome back to the set of The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers. Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're really pleased to welcome to the set of The Verdict Laura Tirrell. She is the president of the Western Avenue Association Board of Directors. She's also the gallery director of the Howell Galleries. Laura did her undergraduate work at the University of Oklahoma and later got a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Oklahoma. She then worked a while at Ackerman McQueen and also the Oklahoman. Now, as I said, she is gallery director of the Howell Galleries on Northwestern and has been in that position since 2005. She is a member of Leadership Oklahoma, has a number of other honors and awards, but we are so pleased she would give us her time today to talk about the Western Avenue Association and herself and the Howell Galleries. Laura, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show. Now, some people develop a love of art late in life. But you, my friend, you were kind of born into it. How old were you when you started going to galleries?
Oh my goodness, I have been around art my entire life, from my earliest childhood memory, whether it was in our own business with my parents or going to what's now the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there as a kid, and the Museum of Art.
So when you started going, people were telling you not to touch things, isn't that right?
That
Because
is
every
exactly
time I go with a kid, I'm always afraid to take my kids to an art museum when they were young. So you don't touch anything. You know,
They're not particularly
I'm just so
interactive,
nervous.
yeah.
They're just going to go up and start rubbing their fingers on.
But
you've come full circle from
I
that.
have. That's been ingrained in my head, and I no longer fear it anymore. In fact, I bring my children to my gallery so that they're around it at an early age as well.
Well, if we're going to talk about embarrassing situations, I was in an art gallery in Fort Worth one time, and I was just getting closer and closer because I was wanting to see the art. And apparently I hit some beam or something.
Oh no!
And immediately security shows up on both sides. I thought I was going to be ushered out of the art gallery, but instead they saw that I was just a little too close. And I don't know how close I was,
Yeah,
a foot or so.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all the self-revelations I have on me in art galleries. But but going to an art gallery and operating an art gallery, boy, that's two two completely different things.
They are two different things. You don't see what goes into behind the scenes of an art gallery. There's quite a bit of work. I'm constantly rehanging paintings, rearranging sculptures, getting new pieces in. It's a lot of day-to-day, it's a lot of work. I spend a lot of time at where I work, and so
Now,
it's a
see,
good thing I enjoy it.
In a typical retail business, though, if something's sellable, you order more. You have 50 more right behind and to sell. But with art, now there's obviously some things you can order in bulk and sell, but some things are one of a kind.
Most of what we represent are all original pieces, so we rarely deal in any sort of prints or reproductions. Now, when you get into sculptures, they're done in series, so there's multiples of those, but paintings, all the ones that we represent are all one of a kind, so you can't order it. It's kind of a first come, first serve on those pieces. So, and that's what makes them even a little more special is no two people are going to have the exact same piece.
How long do you want something in your inventory? And I know 5 minutes is probably the perfect answer. But how long is too long? How long before you say, you know, I really thought this would sell, but it hasn't. We need to figure out something. We need to give that space to something else.
You know, it kind of depends on the piece, and to be honest, my schedule, we do art shows throughout the year. I don't really have a set amount of time because it just takes the right person. Art speaks to people in different ways. It's not going to speak to you the same way it does to me.
Sure.
So really putting a time limit on that
But you
is
can't
difficult.
be a collector. I mean, you can't become a museum, otherwise you
No,
can't pay the electric bill.
That is true. So, you know, you can kind of tell people are free with their comments.
I
So
see.
you do get feedback, which is good. Artists want feedback on what people see in their artwork. I want feedback to know what people like. So that helps me kind of guide me in maybe what has spent a little too much time in the gallery and what needs to move on. So we have a fantastic relationship with all the artists that we represent, and we constantly are switching out, and they're constantly producing new pieces. So
I want to come back to your duties as a gallery director later.
Sure.
But where's your business located?
we're at 6432 Northwestern.
And the name?
The Howell Gallery.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about the Northwestern Avenue Association.
Sure. Western Avenue Association
Western Avenue.
has been together over 10 years now. So it basically started as a way for the small local businesses along Western Avenue to band together to help promote one another and promote our district. It's grown. We've got well over 100 different businesses, professionals of all different types. It's actually one of the largest districts in Oklahoma City, spans from Wilshire Avenue all the way to 36th Street, and even comes off of Western east to west slightly here and there. So it's a fantastic organization, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Does it have its own website?
It does have its own website, and I believe it is visitwesternavenue.com. So you can see all the members that are part of it, where they're located, little snippets about the businesses. And like I said, the majority of the businesses in that association are locally owned small businesses. As you know, that's a hot area right now, so we do have a lot of national retailers. We have Whole Foods and lots of different things coming in, but that's really how it started, and a good main focus for our association is really just promoting that area as the place to dine, shop, eat. You can do it all on Western Avenue.
Art galleries have such a long tradition. I mean, there were art galleries hundreds of years ago and still are today. Yet, there are expectations in technology today that obviously didn't exist in prior decades and centuries. So how has technology changed the art business and the gallery side?
You know, it's interesting. I feel it allows us to reach a broader audience. It hasn't really limited us in that you can see a lot of stuff in different places, and that's one thing people will always compare what they can find different places. But it allows us to reach people that may not be in Oklahoma. I mean, I've sold things to people in all different parts of the country, artists that may not show, artists that I represent that maybe not show in the East Coast. And people have access to that now through the website and then through social media. I have artists that constantly are putting things on Facebook as they're working on it. So you can kind of get in the mind of an artist and see how they create something from the beginning to the end. So I think it's helped more than anything else.
Do you find that different parts of your audience or your customer base has a favorite artist and they're just waiting for the next piece to be
You do find that. There are some people that are very true to, they like a certain type of art and they find their favorite artists and stick with those. I personally like a wide variety of art, and that's kind of what we showcase. We have everything from abstract to traditional and everything in between. And so, you know, it helps opens people's mind. People think they wouldn't like an abstract until they see one in person, or people may not like a traditional piece until they see it in person and it just speaks to them. So it's interesting, but we have, you have it both ways. You have people that stick with one area that they know, and then other people that are open to just about anything.
How long has the Howell Gallery's been in existence?
Formally, we started around 1990, but my parents who own the art gallery, Linda and Ken Howell, have actually been doing art shows since the 70s. We used to work with a gallery out of Chicago called Wally Finley, and once a year they would bring art down and we would do a benefit show for the Mental Health Association of Oklahoma. And so that's really where I got my first taste of doing art galleries and spending time around that, because I was at every one of those shows from the time I can remember. So it's been a long tradition in our family.
Do you handle customers differently based on their age? If someone in their 60s or 70s comes in, might they be interested in a certain part of your inventory? And then a millennial might come in, you might think, well, this person's probably going to be attracted to something different.
I try not to guess what somebody is interested in when they walk in the door based on their age or anything like that, because you'd be surprised, things that you think people wouldn't be interested in based on their age or their gender. It's amazing what people really like. So I try to get a feel for what the person's looking for, let them look around, and go off of what they're telling me and what they like, and kind of help guide them in that way, because you get people who know exactly what they like, and you get people who have no idea what they're looking for.
Who are some of the artists that are featured at your gallery?
We have some wonderful artists. We started with some local Oklahoma artists. Linda Toomer Robertson and Nick Berry are two of our longtime artists. Dennis Johnson, who's also an Oklahoma City artist, who's just fantastic. And we've picked up artists from all different parts of the country. We have a couple of Pre to West artists this time of year with Pre to West coming. Andrew Peters and Sonia Turpinning. He's from Iowa and she's from Texas. So we actually represent over 50 artists from all different parts of the country. So,
Do you all have a display at the Arts Festival?
we do not do a display at the Arts Festival. We have had some of the artists that we represent that participate in the Arts Festival in the past. The gallery as a whole does not, but we do, when our artists are there, we certainly encourage and support them in any way that we can.
How would you describe the art market in Oklahoma City and Tulsa?
You know, it's a fantastic art market. People really love art. It just makes you feel good. And so we have been fortunate versus other parts of the country with different things with the economy and things like that, that we haven't taken that hard of a hit. And so people are very thoughtful about their purchases. Art is an investment, whether you're truly using it as an investment, but in your time and your money it is. And so you have to be very thoughtful about what you're picking, and you want something that you're going to love for years. You don't want to just fill a space, you want to love the piece.
We went through a stage in this city and really across the country where art seemed to be dismissed as part of the educational system. Sports and art were kind of set to the side, and there were those that said we need to focus on other, and you see that turning around. Now a lot of emphasis being placed on the arts and in some cases physical fitness. But you've got to see and enjoy the fact that there are a lot of young people now that are encouraged to get out and just be expressive in all sorts of different media.
I love it because, you know, art makes you think a different way. It can help you in your mathematical skills. It teaches your brain. You use a different side of your brain when it comes to looking at art. And being involved in that, understanding it, playing in it, I mean, it's a wonderful way to kind of let go and, you know, free your mind to dabble in art here and there. It makes you appreciate those that are very talented and can really do it. I love seeing that in children and in their education. I think it's extremely important. In my earliest memories, I've always been around art. I've always been encouraged to be interested in what's out there, understand what's behind it, and I think it's helped me in other areas of my life too.
Laura Tirrell is with Howell Gallery. We're going to take a look at some of the pictures in her gallery in the next segment of The Verdict. We'll be right back.
It's a North American energy revolution. We're the fastest growing source of new oil and natural gas supplies in the world.
The shift to North American energy will create approximately 3 million jobs.
All that money we've been sending overseas, $400 billion a year. Imagine that staying in our economy. It's a game changer.
Real energy independence starts now, and it starts with Oklahoma.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
We are talking art today on The Verdict. Linda Tirrell is our guest, and she's with the Howell Gallery, and we asked her to bring some pictures that we could show you of some of the art that's inside the gallery and also what the gallery looks like. So, Laura, talk us through these pictures here as we put them up on the screen.
Well, that is just kind of a reference as to what our gallery looks like from the outside.
64th and Northwestern in Oklahoma City.
On the east side of the street.
On the east side of the street in the Metro Center there. This is just an example of a couple of the artists that we have. Kenny McKenna on the left, who is a local Oklahoma City artist. And the sculpture piece is an artist by the name of Kim Shackley from Colorado, an example of one of her bronzes.
What sells best, paintings or sculptures?
We sell more paintings than we do sculptures, and we probably carry more painters than we do sculptors.
Okay.
So,
and what is the media on the right, that sculpture? It's made out of?
The one on the right is out of bronze.
Wow.
So on a marble
Beautiful.
And stone base, and I love the scissor tail. I think it's quite appropriate for Oklahoma. She's a fantastic artist.
State bird.
Yeah. State bird, yes.
Let's go to the next slide.
Here's an example of a little more of our contemporary side. We do have a wide variety. The one on the left is another local Oklahoma City artist by the name of William Bennett Berry, works in acrylics, does a lot of pop art type pieces, while the one on the right is an artist from a town called Bochita, Oklahoma, down near Durant, named by the name of Jerry McWilliams. So you just never know where your talent, you're going to find your talent. So
right. And I think we have another slide, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I believe we do. A perfect piece to come in on this is Linda Toomer Robertson, and this is one of her Oklahoma landscapes. She captures Oklahoma better than anybody that I know with the sunsets and just the beauty of our state. That's a painting in oil.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do pieces of art get into your gallery?
Well,
do you solicit them?
Sometimes we do. We've had it both ways. So we have found our artists by places that we travel, things that we see when we're out, we being myself and my parents. And then there are other times that artists come to us. So sometimes the artist that we already represent will recommend a friend. Sometimes it's completely unsolicited. So it has to be something that we think will fit in the style of our gallery, that I have a client for. It's not fair to the artist or myself to have something that I don't think I can sell for them. It's their livelihood, and they don't want a painting just sitting on my wall. And I try to have a wide variety. I try not to duplicate. There are artists that paint in similar styles and will paint similar features. I don't think it's fair to have that competition inside the gallery, and so I try not to duplicate in that way. But to be honest, it has to be something that I myself would love to have, because it's hard to sell something if you don't. So.
Talk about the major art museums in the state of Oklahoma. You have 3, 4, 5 that you think are the most impressive.
Well, obviously in Tulsa you have the Gilcrease and the Philbrook, which are just absolutely fantastic museums. Here in Oklahoma City, you can't beat the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, especially with their Pre to West show, their small work show. It's just wonderful. I have fantastic memories of being in there as a child, being in there as an adult, and really getting an understanding and appreciation for art. And then the Museum of Art downtown. I mean, you go in there and see what they bring in, and it just brings a whole new aspect to your life. to see different things like that.
What about the Fred Jones Jr. Museum in Norman?
Just an absolute fantastic museum as well, and the breadth of their collection is just amazing, and the size and what they've been able to acquire and what they put out, not only for the residents of Oklahoma, but the students. I mean, to have the students at OU have that at their disposal, it's lucky to have.
What about private collections that aren't necessarily open to the general public? I hear about some, I've seen a few, but there's some amazing private collections out there. Some of them may have purchased items at your place.
There are some pretty amazing private collections, and they do different things with them. I mean, you'd be amazed, and a lot of them you will see at some point, whether it's a traveling exhibit through the Cowboy Museum or through the Museum of Art downtown. I think it speaks to the people that are willing to do that and really enjoy collecting art in that way. It's habit forming, to be honest. I mean, once you buy artwork, you see what it does for you and how it makes you feel, and you just want to continue that. So,
how do you balance the presentation that your gallery projects between paintings, sculpture, Native American art, abstract, whatever the categories would be?
Sure, I try to have a wide mix and a good mix of things, because everybody likes something different. That's what makes art so fantastic. No two people will see the same piece exactly the same way or even like it together. I mean, so you want something that when people walk in the door, they don't immediately want to turn out and leave because it's not their cup of tea. And my personal philosophy is all art works together. I have no problem mixing different styles of art in my own home, in my clients' homes, and certainly not in my gallery. I think it adds to the atmosphere of the gallery and to the people's experience that come in. So it's a balancing act, though, of making sure you showcase people's work correctly and don't get too much where you take attention away and it becomes too much for somebody.
We hear a lot about art auctions. Is that an active market in the state of Oklahoma, or is that for other places?
You know, I don't believe it's as active here in Oklahoma. We used to have a yearly auction. The gentleman who used to handle it, I don't think is here anymore. And so I find that people that talk about auctions and the clients that I know that participate in those tend to be in different states. So.
Approximately, how many different pieces of art would you have on display in your gallery at a given time?
Oh my goodness.
Just approximately.
Hundreds, to be honest. We have
right now,
I probably have 200 different pieces of art on display. I have 2 different areas of my gallery. It's spread out over a good space. And so it allows me to kind of play around and do different things. Each room has a little different feel to it and put different things in there. So I'm constantly rearranging, rehanging, and moving things around. It gives them a whole new life when you put them in a different area. So.
Do you ever have tours come through?
We have. We've had groups that have come through, people that do garden clubs or different things like that.
You have an MBA, you come to it with a business sense, you have a business to run, you have employees to pay, you have utilities to, bills to pay. How do you apply a business sense to an inventory and a clientele that is in it for other reasons or is in it for an artistic endeavor?
It is difficult because, you know, I see a lot of art on a weekly basis, whether it's the artists that I represent that are bringing new things or different artists. And while I may like the piece, if I can't sell it, if it doesn't appeal to our market that we typically hit, it's not fair, like I said, to either party to have it in the gallery because it is a business. I do have to pay for the electricity and everything else. So you want things that will appeal to a good amount of people. They're not overly, tailored to one small niche. I try to have things that appeal to a broader base of people, but still have those interesting pieces and that you won't find anywhere else. Our artists are solely represented in our gallery in this market. So.
Laura Tirrell is with Howell Gallery. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I learned a lot. I'm sure our viewers did as well. And Kit and I will have a final word after this.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here. I drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to. Because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
I think for us, once we got started and we began to see the tremendous need just within our state, it really was just a calling for us. The blessings far outweigh any obstacles that we've faced.
You will always be mom and dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
We are wrapping up a show with Laura Tirrell, the gallery director at Howell Gallery. I learned a lot in that show.
Well, I did indeed. It isn't like I've spent a lot of time in art galleries, and it's clear to me I should have spent more time. But it was a very good, succinct explanation of how that business works and what consumers can see when they go in there. It's a wide range of things that
and we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it on the Northwestern Avenue kind of gateway, but when people visit Oklahoma City and they might want to see locally owned businesses, that Western Avenue corridor is a great example. And as Laura mentioned, there's a wide variety of businesses there too,
yeah.
Restaurants, and theaters, and all the way up to the art gallery. So it is a good part of the city to go out and visit. And we're going to have another guest next week. I hope you'll join us. In the meantime, you can check out Laura's website at howellgallery.com. That's howellgallery.com. And we have a website, theverdict.tv. Go there, tell us about a guest you'd like to see on a future show. But that's going to do it for this week. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next week on The Verdict.